Everyone, it's Mari here for Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to be creating a really fun shaker card today using the Tie the Knot die set from Honeybee. I'm going to be using the gown dies that are part of that set to cut out some white cardstock here. And I am going to be using this for a bridal shower, so I want this to look like a bridal gown, but you could actually make this look like a graduation dress or an evening gown, something like that. It doesn't have to be a bridal gown, but I love that I can use it for that reason. And now I'm going to just put these pieces together. I did cut the little belt pieces or the little tiny little strips of accent pieces out of some glitter cardstock. And you can just see how easy it is when I'm assembling this to put this together. The gown skirt has two pieces that layer together. The largest piece goes over top of the base, and then the smaller piece goes next. And you can just see how that layers nicely on that skirt to create some really nice dimension. Now I'm going to take the little strips of paper that I've cut from the glitter cardstock and adhere those into place. The bottom one there is just an accent piece on the top of the skirt, and this piece that I'm adding in here is going to act as a belt on my gown. I love how that looks, and I love using my tweezers to help me use those intricate pieces. This is a sequin mix from Honeybee. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. It's called Save the Date Treasure Blend, and I'm going to use one of the little beads in that. It's actually a little pearl in that set to accent my belt. Now I'm also going to be using the Circlescapes Shaker Frames set of dies to create my shaker element here today. And I'm also going to be using the Marvelous Moments paper pad. I love that this is 8.5 inches long, so that this is really perfect for 5x7 cards as well. And so my white card base today is 5x7. I've trimmed out a piece of the patterned paper slightly smaller than the 5x7 base so that I will get a nice little white margin around the edges of this pattern paper when I add it onto my base. And so this rose colored paper is just going to provide a mat for my shaker element that's going to be added over top. And I just wanted to create some really nice soft blush pink colors as well on my card today. So I'm also going to be using this gorgeous blush and white dot paper. I'm going to size that slightly smaller than the mat that you saw me create. Now I'm going to be using the circle from that Circlescapes shaker frame set to cut out the opening for my shaker element here. So I'm just taping this down with low tack tape. It's balanced, or I should say centered from side to side, but it's a little bit higher than it is centered from top to bottom. And that will leave a spot for my sentiment at the bottom. I've also cut a piece of acetate slightly smaller than the area with the circle in it, the pattern paper with a circle. And this is going to be the acetate cover for my shaker element. So I'm just going to put that onto the back of my pattern paper and cover over that circle element. And now I'm going to prepare the back of my shaker element here by using some double-sided adhesive. This is a 3/4 inch double-sided foam tape, and I'm just going to double it up by taping it onto itself. It's going to be doubled up in that way and give lots of dimension on my shaker backing here so that my shaker mix will shake around nicely. I'm going to cut that in half and then in half again, because you can see that the paper on either side of my circle on the sides is quite thin, quite narrow. So I'm going to need a narrow piece of foam adhesive in that area for sure. So I'll just take the backing off of the foam adhesive and add this around the edges of that circle element. And you'll just see me bending that once I have the paper backing off of the foam tape. And it just bends nicely. I'll just adhere that around the edge of the circle. I'll finish that up. And now what I'll do is take some more foam tape and add that to the other areas on the back of this piece. And so that the circle element will be completely enclosed with the foam adhesive so that the sequins will stay in that area. And then the rest of this foam adhesive that I'm adding on the back of my element here is just going to provide dimension on the entire card back. Now I did cut a piece of white cardstock that matches the size of the piece with the circle opening in it. I put it into my MISTI so that this will help me keep everything nice and straight when I'm adding the circle shape onto this. I'll put my sequin mix into the center there, and now I'm just going to flip this over. I'll put this into the corner of my MISTI so that everything is going to line up nicely while I'm adding this very sticky element onto that white backer. In this way, the white cardstock will provide the background for my shaker area, and you can just see how nicely that is going to shake and mix around. And now what I'm going to do is just adhere that white cardstock by adding a little bit of glue, or my liquid adhesive from Honeybee, onto the back there. I'll just add this onto the front of my card, and there you can just see that nice frame of that darker pink color behind that white dot blush color paper, and that's going to finish off the shaker element. Now what I'm going to do is cut a frame from another piece of that same paper that I used for the mat. And so I'm just going to cut that out with my die cutting machine. And now this is just going to provide a really nice frame on the inside of that circle. So I'm just going to add some liquid adhesive there, and this just fits perfectly inside of the circle. And beautiful frame for my gorgeous gown that I'm going to be adding to the center of this element. So I've got a little bit of foam adhesive on there, and I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the top of the sleeves and add that little die cut hanger that's part of that tie the knot set. I've just die cut that out of a dark brown colored cardstock, and I'm just going to add that on there. Now this is the Perfect Day stamp set, which has a coordinating die set as well. I'm going to stamp out the little banner piece there with some Honeybee embossing ink. I'm going to just put a little bit of gold embossing powder over top of that area, and then I'll heat that up and melt it with my heat tool. This is going to provide just a really nice area to put my sentiment. So I've got that into my MISTI. I've lined up the word congratulations. I'm going to stamp that out with some really nice crisp brown, dark brown ink. So that is all ready to go. And now I'm going to take the coordinating die from the Perfect Day die set, and I'm just going to die cut out that banner. I'm adding a little bit of dimensional foam adhesive to the back of this sentiment piece to add that onto my project to finish off the sentiment area. Friends, I did link up to all of the different products that I've used from the Honeybee shop in the description box below. So if you click those links, it will direct you right to the Honeybee shop where you can find all of these gorgeous products that I've used today. I hope this inspires you to use some of your shaker mixes and create a shaker card. Have an amazing day, friends. Bye-bye.